I'm here today to talk about a solution that WINJIT has developed. We're a software development business. We've been going for nearly 30 years. We're based in India. We have a couple of clients here in Kenya. We're based in South Africa as well. I'm talking to you about AuthSense. AuthSense is a way of doing away with the need for SMS-based OTP. So we developed a solution which allows us to, there you go, authenticate transactions without the need for that SMS, which we all know can be tedious. They may not arrive on time. You might get multiple. If you're overseas, they don't necessarily work. So a lot of transactions, 23% of transactions are declined because of authentication issues, because they don't arrive or people don't authenticate properly. 71% of Gen Z personas prefer to use biometrics over passwords, so they don't have to remember them and they feel they're more secure. So it's a big part of our population. We need to look at this as a potential solution. Much higher potential completion rates for token-based multi-factor authentication. So if you're using a token as opposed to WhatsApp SMS-based, you're going to have much higher completion rate of your transaction. And so many users complain of password fatigue. So they're just tired of the amount of passwords that they have to try and remember, and they're using all these tools to try and remember them. So, it's just a way of getting past that. So I'm just going to draw a couple of lines on how the process works. So Anita here is looking to do a transaction. She needs an OTP to complete that transaction. So, okay, they need to send it to you, I'll wait. She's waiting for a minute, she's waiting, doesn't come through. Damn, she has to resend it. Transaction has failed. OTP lag breaks trust. So if you are reliant for sending the OTP, you are reliant on a third-party network provider. And if they don't send it, you look bad. So we've all been through this experience. We all know what Anita's going through. We understand where it's going. But then Jacob has a slightly different issue. He has to try and remember his password. And if he's anything like me, when you're in your 50s, remembering your name is difficult, never mind remembering your password. So I've got 1,000 passwords out there. How do I remember the ones that I'm supposed to? And this is the situation. You get yourself locked out, final attempt, account is locked. Customer experience nightmare. Not necessarily your fault. You put a process in place to understand what's important, to try and get people to put in their password. But if they forget the password or they don't understand the process of reminding you for a password, you're going to have a similar issue. Now in the business world, maybe something very similar. Maybe we've got a client here who's got an opportunity, he needs to do a quick transaction before he gets on a plane to fly somewhere, and he uses a rotating encryption device, but he left it at home, or it's in his bag. He doesn't have it with him. Now he has to make a transaction, or he's going to be flying away in the next few minutes. It's a big problem for her. He wants to do it, but they're saying, no, you have to have that hard token enabled to do it. It causes delays in approval. There might be shipment delays, revenue. For a customer, at the corporate side of things, the impact is much bigger than just for a transaction which I have to make to pay for my rent. So security without mobility is a problem. That's what we're talking about here. So in addition, this is one of my favorite use cases for this process is if a bank phones me or I phone a bank, the number of questions that you have to go through to get yourself authenticated as your customer that you're proving yourself to be is long and boring. Mother's maiden name, last transaction amount, all these different questions. It's taking you 10, 15 minutes, and all this guy is looking to do is to understand what their loan offering was. So a potential customer lost because he wasn't able to remember a few phrases that he'd given you 10 years ago when he opened the account. So the option here is to send him something digitally. The new way is to use what we call AuthSense. So this is an embedded application which resides within your mobile application. It's an add-on. It won't impact how it works. The customer themselves won't know it's any different. But it works within the environment that you already have. So it's a safe and secure, managed by you as the bank. And there are different options to get token-based OTPs that the app would send through, not coming through SMS. Matching the number, you may have seen it on things like Netflix where it shows you 3 numbers and on another screen you get 1 and you have to choose one of the numbers, swipe to approve. Biometric obviously is the key that most people are looking at. I can use fingerprint or facial recognition to, to authenticate or use a QR code, that type of thing. So just an example of how these things work. We're going to do a transaction on our desktop application. This is the transaction I need to do, $2,000, quite a lot to move, so I'm going to send this through. The key for it as well is it will tell you where that OTP request came from. So if it looks like it's from Russia or from China or some dodgy place, you can immediately decline it. But that's just a quick, simple way of doing a transaction using AuthSense. And we've developed different mechanisms. It's not all, just biometrics. So this particular one is using, match the number. As I said, it says there the number's 24. That's what I'm going to be using. So that pop-up notification comes in. That's great. And now it shows you the numbers. That there's 3 different numbers. Which one was it? And now the bank knows that that's the right person at the end of it. So really, this is the tool that we're here to talk about today. We are a full stack developer. I'm actually going to skip through a bit. There's a couple more of these videos that are very similar. And I know everyone's hungry, so I'm one of those as well. So token-based OTP has become very much more adopted. UAE banks moved away from traditional OTPs over SMSs last year. Lots of customers are moving in that direction. Nigeria's understanding that this is an issue. So using SMS, the limitations are, people can clone your SIM card without you knowing, and they're getting the OTPs. If you're overseas or in a different country, you may not get your OTPs. They take time, regardless of which country you're in. Even your own country, you'll take time. So there's a lot of reasons to move away from it, never mind if there's a cost. So a lot of companies are sending out thousands upon thousands of these SMSs every day, and there's a high cost associated with it. So to build in a digital way of doing that definitely helps to reduce cost and improve security for your clients. So integration is very simple. We have a journey that we've clearly defined on how we can get this application built into your system. And the key is you already have an application. We're just adding some functionality to it. So we're already using your color schemes and your design elements, all that type of stuff. And all we're doing is importing the SDK so that there's a bit of work in the back end, of course, to make it work. But the configuration is quite simple, and for the customer, it's pretty much seamless. They don't even notice that it's happening until they receive the pop-up from their, for a transaction that they're looking to make. So amongst all the things we do, which is many and varied, but as I said at the beginning, we're a custom software house. This is what we're talking about today. I think AuthSense can make a big difference to clients. It can secure payments. It can make customers feel more secure in their dealings with the client, and reduce costs as far as SMS transactions are concerned. So yeah, as I said, I'll be short and sharp, and we can start that later. Thanks for your time, everybody.